So
that reminds me of the Fred Armisen thing where you American. I'm telling you, so anything. Where South American guy with Fred Armisen Saturday Night Live, he goes, "Okay, that's weird." I just turned like blue, you know. What's just like the screen, like,
so
she's
like,
so fat, she's ugly, and nobody wants to be with her. And just
Sinai. Some officials say the intelligence suggests a bomb brought it down.
The leading Egyptian investigator said this weekend a noise from a, quote, undetermined source was heard on the black box recording immediately before the aircraft went down. That sound likely a bomb, according to U.S. and Egyptian authorities, who say they are 90% certain. However, there is still some doubt as investigators are looking into a fuel explosion or an overheated lithium battery.
Fox's Connor Powell in St. Petersburg today. A memorial was held for the 224 victims. Tragedy on the ground in suburban Washington, D.C. 4 people are dead following a collision this afternoon between a van and a pickup truck in Prince George's County, Maryland. The van then caught fire.
Unfortunately, in that passenger van where there were a number of adults and children inside that van, and that's where the majority of injuries and fatalities came from.
Mark Brady with the county fire department. 12 other people were hurt. The turmoil over racially charged incidents is growing at the University of Missouri. Tomorrow, the school's governing body will hold a special meeting amid ongoing protests and growing calls for the university president to step down. In a statement issued earlier today, President Tim Wolf said the school is working to promote diversity and tolerance. As his poll numbers rise, so does the scrutiny of Republican presidential hopeful Ben Carson.
What is going on with me? You said this 30 years ago, you said this 20 years ago, this didn't exist, this didn't exist. You know, I have not seen that with anyone else.
Dr. Carson appearing on NBC's Meet the Press, Fox News Radio, and balanced.
How can you get from here to there? ChicagoRadioDeals.com, Traffic Center.
I'm Grace Hackett taking a look at traffic. Our biggest issue right now is on the eastbound side of the O'Hare extension between O'Hare Airport and Manheim Road. It's stop and go there because of an accident blocking the right lane. Out in Libertyville, there's an accident with injuries on Buckley at St. Mary's Road. Avoid that area if you can. Also, we'll be seeing big delays on the west side soon because there's a Blackhawks game at the United Center. You can expect heavy traffic around the stadium after the game. Also, the Red Line trains are experiencing irregular train service this weekend as the northbound trains are not stopping at all stops, including Wilson, Berwyn, and Granville. That's until 4 a.m. tomorrow due to week-long track work. Southbound trains continue to make all scheduled stops. Let's take a look at the weather. It's currently 49 degrees and clear. Tonight's low is 40. Next update in 15 minutes on AM560 The Answer.
If you're looking for a better shooting experience, imagine shooting virtually all your firearms the same day. You can move and shoot steel, draw from the holster, or compete in a 3-gun match. You can exercise that rifle out to 600 yards, even engage in a very challenging sporting clays course or a round of trap or skeet. Do all that and much more at the Aurora Sportsman's Club. Whether you're a novice looking for a basic course or an experienced shooter looking for an advanced course, even if you want to participate in your favorite shooting event such as IDPA or cowboy action shooting, spend an enjoyable day with the family at the Aurora Sportsman's Club, the only shooting facility in the region that offers all of that and more. If that sounds interesting, don't miss the next orientation and a tour of the Aurora Sportsman's Club in Waterman, Illinois. Call the membership department at 815-264-9000 extension 44 for information. That's 815-264-9000 extension 44 to join a one-of-a-kind shooting facility. The Aurora Sportsman's Club.
America was built by people with a few dollars and a dream. And while many don't know it, there's one path to success that still only requires a dream and about $10. That's right. If your dream is to start or grow your business, something as simple as the right business card could make all the difference. And today at Vistaprint.com, you can get 500 full-color business cards for only $9.99. That's right, 500 business cards for just $9.99. What's more, you can choose between hundreds of designs or upload your own and customize them easily. And because they're from Vistaprint.com, the cards are of top quality and your satisfaction is 100% guaranteed. So visit Vistaprint.com today and get 500 shots at turning your dream into reality. Hurry, because this offer won't last long. To get your 500 business cards for just $9.99, go to Vistaprint.com Click on the link in the upper right corner and use promo code 2323. That's Vistaprint.com. Click on the link in the upper right corner and use promo code 2323.
You never want a serious crisis to go to waste.
If I could have gotten 51 votes in the Senate of the United States for an outright ban, picking up every one of them, Mr. and Mrs. America, turn them all in, I would have done it.
I have 2 words for you. Predator drones. You will never see it coming.
It's time for On Target Radio, Chicagoland's only radio show dedicated to the red meat issues that affect your life, from gun control to freedom of speech. Now, debating, debunking, and discussing today's hot issues. Here are your hosts, David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz.
Welcome to On Target Radio. Tonight, David and Gretchen will be talking about the almost total lack of federal prosecution of gun laws. The U.S. Department of Education is now requiring schools to allow boys to use the girls' locker room and showers. Does the U.S. have an effective fighting force anymore? And be sure to listen to segment 6. We'll explore how the liberal agenda caused Democrats to stumble in the 2015 election. All that and more on tonight's On Target Radio. So be sure to give us a call at 312-642-5600. Or go to Facebook, like our page, On Target Radio, and ask a question there.
And now, from the seething cauldron of personal opinion, it's time for David's Rant of the Week.
About 2 years ago, President Obama, expressing his deep concern over violent gun-related crime, assured the nation that he was going to increase gun crime prosecution. While he's become increasingly strident about pushing his anti-gun agenda, even to the point that he now makes thinly veiled references to gun confiscation, his record on federal prosecution of gun crimes is less than stellar. Syracuse University's Transactional Records Access Clearinghouse, or TRAC, analyzed the data and made some interesting discoveries. The 2013 total federal prosecutions for gun crimes represent a 42% decline from the record number of 8,752 prosecutions by the Justice Department in 2004 under President Bush. And gun prosecutions continue to decline. The problem is not simply a matter of justice refusing to prosecute. It's a much deeper problem. Cases recommended for prosecution by the ATF have declined from a high of 17,877 in 2004 under George Bush to 12,066 last year, according to TRAC. But here's where it gets far more subtle and insidious. Since the latter part of the Bush years, case selections within the ATF have gone from mostly violent crime cases toward regulatory. Instead of chasing down bad guys, ATF is spending its time harassing dealers and manufacturers. Today, the most common ATF charge prosecuted by the Justice Department involves taxes on making firearms, with prosecutions up 243% over the past 5 years and 129% this year alone. Another area that is rapidly increasing is prosecutions under the Hobbs Act, interstate commerce of firearms. Robert Sanders, a former ATF assistant director, said under the Obama administration, and I quote, "The agency's philosophy has shifted to guns and access to guns as the significant problem rather than the actual criminal who perpetrated the crime," unquote. According to TRAC, since 2013, when Sandy Hook gave the president the fire to lead the charge against lawful gun ownership, gun crime prosecutions have steadily been declining. The feds have reported 6,002 new firearm convictions during fiscal year 2015. That's down 5.8% from the 6,373 convictions in fiscal year 2014, and a sharp contrast to the 7,101 convictions 5 years ago. That's insufficient anecdotal evidence that this president could care less about crime and is laser-sharp focused on curtailing legal firearm ownership. Consider this. At no time has this president brought up the subject of mandatory minimum sentencing for gun-related crimes. You want to reduce gun deaths on the street? Take the bangers who commit them off the street. And you know that mantra the left keeps chanting, it's about the children? You know, the children being shot every day in Chicago, Los Angeles, and New York City. Those same cities have the nation's most restrictive gun laws, as well as the most active mayors in championing gun control. New York's past mayor Michael Bloomberg, Chicago's mayor Rahm Emanuel, and Los Angeles mayor Antonio Villaraigosa are all members of the Mayors Against Illegal Guns campaign. Well, those judicial circuits ranked last, or at least near the bottom, in terms of federal gun law enforcement, according to Track. The districts of Eastern New York, Central California, and Northern Illinois have in recent years ranked as low as 88th, 89th, and 90th, respectively, out of 90 districts in prosecution of federal weapons crimes per capita. But here's the real issue. While the districts that ranked lowest last year for federal gun crime prosecutions all contain major cities with liberal leadership and the strictest gun control laws, the districts at the top of the list for enforcement were almost exclusively rural. The districts of southern Alaska, Kansas, and western Tennessee, all historically solid red states, ranked first, second, and third in prosecution of federal weapons laws per capita last year. So there is a stronger federal enforcement presence in politically conservative rural areas than liberal urban ones, despite the fact that's where the bulk of violent gun-related crime occurs. The bottom line is the Obama administration, which continually presses for more gun regulation, isn't enforcing the laws it already has at its disposal. Crime-infested murder capitals are given a pass, so black-on-black genocide continues. But generally, law-abiding conservative areas are being scrutinized. Once again, we see this president illegally manipulating federal agencies to further his personal anti-gun, anti-conservative agenda. And that, Gretchen, is my rant for the week.
Yes, I found it interesting that not only is his rhetoric about going after people's guns, law-abiding people's guns and the manufacturers and stuff, but they're actually doing it by way of the Justice Department.
If you can't get it through Congress, which he hasn't been able to do, then he just does it by fiat.
Get it
He
some
goes
other
his
way.
own. Yeah, he just goes his own way. He scoffs at the concept that there are three branches of government.
Right.
And there's the only three branches he's got are him, and him.
Right.
You're listening to On Target Radio, and this is AM560 The Answer. Give us a call, 312-642-5600. Tell us how very much you like our president's measures that now he's actually enforcing gun laws in conservative areas, which has pretty poor results. There's not a whole lot going on.
Right. Exactly.
But that's what he's doing. And, you know, it keeps going back to this. They just let these guys walk. Look at this woman who we know did a straw purchase. There's no question about that, right?
Right.
Did a straw purchase, gave it to a guy who couldn't buy a gun,
He was a felon. Yeah.
prison time, the whole bit. And what does he do? He turns around, kills a cop.
Kill the cop. Yeah.
One of the charges he was on, one of the reasons was a gun crime.
Right.
And then he goes out and he kills a cop with it. And they give her
a year of probation.
Yeah. She doesn't even go to jail.
Yeah, and I thought there was a mandatory minimum sentence on that. I mean, when I teach that in the Utah concealed carry class, I was under the impression that there was a mandatory minimum, but I guess there's a maximum of 10 years.
There's probably a little parentheses in there, except under Obama administration.
Right.
It's or probably except for liberals.
Right.
That's okay. You can do that. The numbers are, and these are not like numbers that we made up. These are numbers that come out of Department of Justice. They're published from the feds.
Right.
And as I've said with other numbers from the feds, if they're going to juke the numbers, it's going to be in their favor, not in ours.
Right. A lot of these numbers came from, oh no, I lost it. It's the Syracuse University's Transactional Records Access Clearinghouse, and they get it from U.S. attorneys. They get it from the administration. So, I mean, these are government numbers. It's it's processed by this university, but it's their numbers.
It's It says the data directly from 94 federal judicial district offices across the country. The prosecutions went from 5,935 in 2012 to 5,082 in 2013, and they've dropped another 4,500 last year. I mean, they're basically not doing anything.
Right.
And these are prosecutions; these aren't convictions.
Right.
This is just trying.
This is just what they choose to go after.
Right. They don't actually cite in here anywhere that I found how many of them were actually successfully prosecuted.
Yeah. This guy from George Washington University, Robert Cottrell, says we have this irony: the Obama administration, which is asking for more in the way of gun regulations, is actually prosecuting less of the gun laws already on the books.
Exactly. Give us a call, 312-642-5600. Weigh in on what you think about that. And we're going to be back after a few messages with a little bit more talking about Mr. Obama and prosecuting federal gun violations. All that and more on Target Radio when we return. And you're listening to AM560, The Answer.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer. ChicagoRadioDeals.com.
Taking a look at the road.
Yeah, I like what it says towards the end. It says,
from the earlier crash. Give yourself 21 in from O'Leary downtown.
Priority show up in these statistics because everyone wants to please their boss. You're going to take the cases that the president and the attorney general says.
These guys signs a check.
So of course they are. Westbound shut down Rodenberg to Freedom Park with a roadwork project should be reopened by 5 a.m. tomorrow.
Anyway, what I'm saying is, we should do some video, each of us talking.
About what? Like how so? What's your thought behind it?
Well, my thought is we could do a promo for the show. I'm looking at creative ways to try and get people to give us sponsorship money.
Right.
Maybe if we had a DVD we threw into a thing, you know?
Yeah, just some video they can pop in and watch, or it's just through a link is even more cost effective.
Yeah.
Watch that
So what I'm
YouTube.
suggesting is maybe you can run the camera. You can take me, I'll take her, I'll take you. Yeah. We'll each, well, you gotta say something. Right? We may not even hear the voice, maybe in the background.
I'll just move my mouth.
And we got a call coming in.
Starting at 5, right after Sean Henry into AM560 The Answer.
Don't listen to a damn word she says. I'm always pissed off.
That's
For
Joe.
100 years, the Illinois State Rifle Association has supported the rights and freedoms of Illinois citizens to keep and bear arms. For over 100 years, the ISRA has supported the use of firearms as a
Trying to
support
see
for
if I could
personal protection
update our gun
and
channels.
as a fundamental aspect of national defense. For over 100
How much
years,
time
the
have I got?
Illinois State Rifle Association has
Do I have
been
time to go
supporting
get the camera?
you. Don't you think it's time you supported them? ISRA.org or 815-635-3198. Illinois State Rifle Association is supporting you. Did you have a takeover? Tired of your outdated bathrooms? The big box store waits more questions.
How far away does it think it is?
I don't know.
Oh my god.
Maybe it doesn't do how far, but how fast.
It's not even as far as the break room where you get one.
Stone City Designers transform your dream into reality. Stone City, 3053 West Branch, Chicago, or call
I don't know if my mom's watching. She hasn't said anything.
773-533-9806. Stone City, it's your
Yeah, my mom responds to everything I post on Facebook now.
Debt management services.
Yeah.
I'm like, Mom, you're embarrassing.
Safe finance.
Your mom and my mom?
My mom.
And these are
Yes, I think it's a mom thing.
Yeah.
As we begin our third decade of helping people become debt-free.
My mom not only likes to comment on everything that I put up, but she likes to tag me, so I get like double notification.
I don't know if my mom, I don't know if she knows how to tag me, how to tag people or not. My sister does it all the time.
990-6976. There once was a boy wizard whose name was Larry Smarter.
Larry, why weren't you and Professor Dicky Doodle's mythical
So let's see
creature
when just like set up the tripod and like just put it on one of us at a time.
Oh, so you can talk to unicorns? Not exactly. Unless they're
I'm not
French.
really sure what he's thinking, yeah.
So he visited
But if we're gonna do that, I need more makeup.
the classes he really
You're fine.
magically.
So we're just gonna freehand it?
What?
Just gonna freehand it?
Oh, yeah.
Freehand this shit for years.
Also to
Coming back in.
Target Radio on AM560 The Answer. With Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control.
freedom of speech and other red meat issues that affect your life. I'm still sore from today. And did you see me take the big fall today?
No, I didn't. What happened?
Twice. You know what?
You weren't even competing in 3 guns.
No,
So what happened?
Well, here's the thing. I was going around, like documenting, right? Okay?
Right.
Because we want to make a video about it. And so Ross pulls up and he says, jump in the trailer. Why walk between these things? Well, I'll drive.
You usually do that. Jump out the back of the truck or whatever.
Exactly. So I go on the side and I put my foot on the tire and I pull myself up and it slides because it's wet and I practically break my shin in half.
Oh, jeez.
Now everyone is standing there the president. Oh, are you okay? Are you okay? Right.
Right.
15 minutes later, I'm getting in the back of the trailer, smart enough not to try and get in the side this time.
Okay.
And there's one door open and one door closed.
Right.
I just grab the door that's closed and pull, and of course the door opens and I go flying backward again. Now there's less concern. Okay.
Right.
Now it's like everyone's standing there laughing.
Nice.
So I still am.
You fell like completely down on your back.
Oh,
I
yeah,
mean,
big time.
You
Yes.
could have really hurt yourself.
My leg hurts, my arm hurts, but that's okay. We got a show to do. It's showtime.
That's right.
Where was the camera at that
Showtime.
time?
What can I say? But it was a good day.
Even if we had footage of it, we couldn't use it.
That's probably
I have a really good photo of him from like the first year I was on the show, and he's threatened me with death if I put it anywhere.
I don't even remember what it is.
I'm not going to say it because
Right.
I may as well put up the picture if I'm going to say what it is.
Probably true. You're listening on Target Radio, AM560 The Answer. Give us a call, 312-642-5600. We're talking about under the Obama administration, we are not prosecuting gun crimes. And Barbara from Chicago has a comment about people who are using guns. What is that, Barbara?
Oh, I'm on the line. Thanks. Yeah, you commented. This president, unfortunately, was elected twice, and he breaks every law you can think of, and the gun control is just one of them. But how is it that we have 500, roughly, other elected officials? None of them can control this man. I can hardly wait till he gets out of office. But how come nobody ever picks on all the 500 messes of people that we elect that let him do what he wants? He's crazy.
We've actually talked about this a number of times.
We have.
I mean,
have you? Oh, sorry, I listened, but not enough. I guess.
No, but
okay.
it's a well taken point, Barbara, because
And we agree with you.
these people in the last election, Republicans, conservatives, literally ran on, send this to Washington, we're going to end this nonsense.
Exactly.
And how many
They
times?
didn't.
How many times have I said this? I've said I can see no difference. Harry Reid could have stayed in office. I could see no difference.
Nobody can put him down either. I mean, it's just rabid, and hopefully this will change.
Barbara,
Somebody has to get out and vote.
That might be a bad choice of words, putting him down. But
Oh, no. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
That is bad, isn't it?
you just want to put him out, okay? But you're right.
Yeah. Well, it's nice listening to you, and I hope for better things because this is crazy. And I know all the stats about the guns, and I believe in guns. The safest places are the people, the real citizens. I guess 90% out of 100 own guns, but they really are the good people. If we leave it to the bad people, we're in trouble.
Well, you got that right. And
Thanks for calling.
Appreciate the call, Barbara.
Well, thank you for your time. Bye now.
Bye-bye. I mean, we've talked about this any number of times. It's true. The Republicans, they don't have a pair.
Well, yeah, I mean, as I mentioned last week, in small ways, they're doing what we want them to do, but in the big ways, they're really not. And, I read an article the other day about how Mitch McConnell is extremely reticent to bring up anything for a vote that he doesn't know for sure he can get cloture on. And I'm like,
why?
Who cares?
What's the point?
Who cares? If you can get, you don't need a filibuster-proof majority. All you need is a majority. Let's just, people may want to talk, but that's fine. Let them talk.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's just, as we have said, we've talked about this ourselves. If I could, I'd have him impeached. I would have him every day throwing something on his door that he has to worry about and get attorneys.
Right, exactly. I mean, I also think we've talked about this, that since we do have Republican majorities in the House and the Senate, we should be bringing things up for a vote that we can get, Republican votes on things that he doesn't want to have to veto, things that we'll take a bill to his desk for him to sign. and he'll have to veto it, and then he'll be on the record as having vetoed that for all eternity. You know, like the 20-week ban on abortion and things like that. I think that these are things that we want to get him on record, and we want to make the Democrats own it forever and ever, that their president vetoed something that, you know, that was for unborn babies or whatever the case may be.
Well, and I mean, you're right, because there's an election coming up. And if you can say, look, the Democrats did this, the Democrats did that, we wanted to do this for you, this is what happened. I
mean, we did our job, we passed it.
Exactly.
And he wouldn't sign it.
You keep throwing it in their face over and over again.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, you know, it's this whole thing with not prosecuting cases. If you look at what the Justice Department has been doing since Bush, now, and admittedly, some of it, Bush got a little on the administrative crime stuff too, but it really, Obama is intentionally ignoring gun crimes. That's what he's doing.
Right.
He's sicking people on conservatives.
Right. And the former ATF Assistant Director, Robert Sanders, says the agency's philosophy has shifted to guns are the problem and access to guns are the problem, rather than the criminal being the direct indicator of crime. So Bush was more going after criminals who commit gun crimes, and Obama's administration is more going after the guns themselves.
And one of the things in that article, it says that legal analysts say that the U.S. prosecutors are, they've shifted their attention, and it did start somewhat under Bush, but really,
it's really Obama.
To the more complicated federal issues, white collar crime, immigration, immigration is really funny, corporate and government fraud, and that sort of thing. Remember, he was suing everybody. I mean, all these people are getting sued, and it was just a nightmare. He's done more weird stuff. All the money he put into Solyndra and all those things, which people knew was going to fail before.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was clear
so
that was
obvious.
Absolutely. The only one who made money on those deals was Al Gore, I think.
Yeah.
And shifted all this stuff over to the white collar and all that immigration. That it would say immigration tickles me, because maybe legal immigration. Maybe he's found a way to sue people over legal immigration.
Yeah.
But,
Not
just
sure.
Out of control.
But they're saying, they're prosecuting fewer cases because they're going after cases that take longer to develop, and that may be valid. But the fact that, you know, as I just said a moment ago, the philosophy has shifted to guns are the problem, and so when you go after guns are the problem, it affects us law-abiding citizens very adversely as well. Not really just criminals. It affects us as well.
Well, a guy who's in ATF, his name is Sanders, said the culture within ATF, the dominant force, the driver of policy within the agency, is for more regulation, and we constantly see that. Every ISRA thing that Richard sends out every week for months has been, now they want this, now they want that. And then he goes on, he says, rewards and punishments are geared toward it. Leadership is on board with it. So now it's more or less become a regulatory agency rather than a law enforcement agency.
Right.
Constantly. They're just, this is the thing that anti-gun people don't get. Liberals don't get that. Well, how could you object to something that simple? Well, the answer is really easy. The answer is, every time you say, we just want this one thing for the children, you know, as soon as they get that one thing, the next day they're starting on the next one.
Right.
And I think philosophically, the NRA, and I applaud them for it, philosophically, their attitude is make them fight for every single thing. Just keep dragging them through the trenches. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
Just make them suck up as much money as they can.
It's the only way. It's the only way to slow them down.
We're gonna talk in not that maybe the next segment, I don't remember, about Bloomberg putting money into campaigns. There's a subtle thing that's been happening. There's been a shift. People are beginning to go the other way for the first time in many, many years. About 2-3 weeks ago, there was a poll was done that showed more Americans now think we don't need more gun laws.
Mm-hmm.
More Americans now think we don't need more gun laws.
Right.
That's a shift.
It is.
And I think it's directly attributable to this president. Anyway, we're going to talk a little more about that when we come back, and we're going to talk about girls' locker rooms, which is one of my favorite topics. Okay, we'll be back with more On Target Radio, and you're listening to AM 560. George is shaking his head. The Answer.
One event.
Probably wouldn't be.
All of these names together. Sean Hannity, Ann Coulter, Hugh Hewitt, KT McFarland, Katie Pavlich, and Guy Benson. It's Freedom Summit Chicago 2015, November 14th in Itasca. Tickets begin at just $29 and are on sale now at freedomsummitchicago.com. Don't miss this exclusive event. Go to freedomsummitchicago.com. That's freedomsummitchicago.com.
Fox News Radio, I'm Karen McHugh. Still no official word on what caused the downing of a Russian jetliner over Egypt last weekend, though more speculate a bomb planted on board blew the plane from the sky.
Earlier in the week, Pentagon officials say they detected a sudden and unexpected heat flash seconds before the plane crashed. Russia announcing Friday it was suspending flights to Egypt, and today saying that they had flown some 11,000 tourists out from Sharm el-Sheikh and back to Russia.
Fox's Connor Powell. A 3-vehicle crash in Maryland leaves 4 dead, including a child, a dozen more injured.
Fatal injuries, unfortunately, may go up from this crash. The injured included 7 adults and 5 children.
Mark Brady, spokesman for the Prince George's County Fire Department, says a pickup truck collided with another vehicle and caught fire. It then continued forward until colliding with a passenger van. Fox News. We report, you decide.
How can you get from here to there? We've got the answer from the ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
Taking a look at the roads, Blue Line trains headed to Forest Park stopped near Harlem with mechanical problems. Crews working to restore service there. And on the Red Line, no northbound stops between Wilson and Jarvis until 4 a.m. tomorrow. Weekend-long track work, the issue there. Southbound trains are making all stops. Elsewhere in Libertyville, a crash with injuries has crews on the scene. Buckley and St. Mary's. Southbound Lakeshore Drive delays from North Avenue down to Grand Avenue. Give yourself 18 in from Hollywood. And 390 westbound is closed between Rodenberg and Irving Park until 5 a.m. with a roadwork project. The Edens and Kennedy moving well. No issues. The Ike, Stevenson, Dan Ryan, I-57, the Bishop Ford, or your 4 area tollways. Right now, 48 degrees in Chicago. Lows in the 30s overnight. Tomorrow, sunny. Highs in the mid-50s. Next update in 15 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
Safer USA, Chicago's most trusted name in firearm training, is offering beginners classes, tactical pistol and rifle, long-range rifle to 600 yards, and the most comprehensive Illinois concealed carry program available. AM 560 On Target Radio co-hosts David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz will prepare you to carry a firearm for personal protection, including firearm, holster, and ammunition selection. A comprehensive law review designed to keep you out of trouble and even how to deal with home invasions. Firearm, ammunition, holster, class notebook, and lunch are provided. Safer USA and the Aurora Sportsman's Club invites you to participate in this one-of-a-kind Illinois concealed carry program that also qualifies you for Florida, Utah, and Arizona non-resident permits. Find out what over 6,000 students already know at saferusa.com or call 877-954-3030. That's 877-954-3030. Safer USA. Choosing to own a firearm is your business. Teaching you to own it responsibly is ours.
For over 100 years, the Illinois State Rifle Association has supported the rights and freedoms of Illinois citizens to keep and bear arms. For over 100 years, the ISRA has supported the use of firearms as a sport for personal protection and as a fundamental aspect of national defense. For over 100 years, the Illinois State Rifle Association has been supporting you. Don't you think it's time you supported them? ISRA.org or 815-635-3198. The Illinois State Rifle Association, supporting you.
Kitchen need a makeover? Tired of your outdated bathroom? Did a big box store raise more questions than answers? The answer is Stone City. 2 million square feet of marble and granite countertops in 50 colors starting at $26 a square foot installed. Plus the latest appliances, cabinetry, faucets, and fixtures. Stone City designers transform your dream into reality. Stone City, 3053 West Grand in Chicago, or call 773-533-9806. That's 773-533-9806. Stone City, it's your home, only better.
Here's Dr. Howard, formulator of Balance of Nature, an all-natural 100% fruit and vegetable supplement.
Did you know 40% of all cancer could be prevented?
That's a fact. Along with maintaining appropriate body weight and regular exercise, the American Institute for Cancer Research and the USDA confirm that eating 9 to 11 servings of fruits and vegetables every day is the key. Now ask yourself, am I at risk? How many servings of fruits and vegetables did I eat today? Balance of Nature has solved this problem and provides an easy and affordable way to consume over 10 servings of 31 different whole fruits and vegetables every day.
Get real today with Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies. Call toll-free 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and be sure to enter promo code Chicago.
You're listening to On Target Radio on AM560 The Answer with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
And we're back. We're on Target Radio. Hi, I'm Rick Cizak, Advertising Sales Director for the On Target Media Group. If you own a small business and need more exposure to potential customers, and what small business doesn't, we can help. For over 3 years, the On Target Media Group has been helping small businesses grow. We offer many different and affordable marketing packages through our partnership program. Plus, we can even create a custom program tailored to your business's needs. To find out more, contact me today at sales.ontargetradio@gmail.com or visit our website at otmediagroup.net/sponsorship. We look forward to helping your business reach its target.
Very well done. Very well.
Yeah, it's getting better, I think.
And captured on video.
Yeah, good.
It's
add to my resume.
That's it. What more can I say? I don't know. I want to add one last thing about our last topic before we get into women's restrooms. That just doesn't sound right. But anyway,
No.
how does Spike Lee pronounce it? Chirac?
Chirac.
Chirac?
Yeah,
Yeah, Chirac.
One of the in an article that was written, an editorial was written in the Tribune, they were talking about many of Chicago's aldermen, are talking about violence in the wards and all that. But despite the fact that they live in the ward, they're trying to blame the police for the violence, not for the violence, but for not stopping it.
Right.
And then he makes an interesting observation, and it really is interesting. This is the person who's writing the editorial. He says Chicago's lawmakers in Springfield have blocked legislation that would stiffen sentences for gun offenders, because that's what we keep talking about.
Right.
We want to take them off the street, keep them off a long time. And this is what they say. The legislators are concerned that longer incarceration would disproportionately hurt minority communities.
Right. Because the violence doesn't
look at George's face.
Disproportionately hurt minority communities.
Yeah. Is there something I'm missing here?
Clearly that's not logical. But, the Democrats and the liberals in general don't get bogged down in logic. We've discussed that many times.
That's a good point. But, to say that it would disproportionately hurt, okay, let's see. We could leave them there and they could keep killing people. That won't disproportionately hurt them.
If they kill your children, does that not disproportionately hurt your community?
Apparently not. I've always said children are a renewable resource. I don't know. I mean, that's what they say. This is the way these people think. Oh, we can't lock them up. It would hurt the community. They're killing people.
Right. I also think it's funny that it says Chicago politicians fear it will stigmatize their city. I think the city is already stigmatized. I think pretty much everybody in the world has heard about all of the killings in Chicago. It's not really a secret.
I travel all over the world as a journalist, right? And I kid you not. Where are you from? Where are you from? I go Chicago, and they all do the machine gun thing, the Tommy gun. They do. They all do that. Wow. They do the Tommy gun. When they think of Chicago, they think of Al Capone and the mob. That's what they think about.
Yeah.
And I correct them. I say, that's insane. That's not true at all. No, it's gangs.
No,
Same
it's
thing.
gangbangers.
Yeah, they're worse. At least Al Capone and the mob had rules. These people are psychotics.
Yeah.
John from Crete is back on. John, we haven't talked to John in a long time. How you doing, John?
I'm okay. How are you?
Well, we're doing pretty good. Yeah. So Catholic men, you want to talk about Catholic men?
Yeah, first, thank you for taking the call. Yeah, as far as the 2008 election, it was the Catholic men, 54% that voted for Obama that gave him an election. And then in 12, it was 52% of Catholics voted for Obama, and he won the election. So Catholics have to be informed that abortion is morally wrong, and it is morally wrong. It was morally wrong to vote for him. And I'd like to say something about Ben Carson.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say something though, John. Gretchen and I.
Go ahead.
Gretchen and I were talking about this like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
This very thing, and you really hit the nail on the head. Catholics have become liberal, even though almost every tenet of liberalism goes against Catholic theology. Whereas Protestants tend to be conservative. Yeah. You're absolutely right. But John, it doesn't make sense. Why would Catholics support liberalism when that talks about abortion and divorce and gay marriage? What's the sense?
Yeah, there's a disconnect, I think. But I think the point that I'm emphasizing is, it's said that if you are a church, you cannot speak out to get your tax exemption. Well, because of tax exemption, contraception, abortion, and homosexuality have been accepted.
Yeah, it's like it's subsidized practically. It's crazy.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. And then I want to say something about Carson. He said that why are people picking on him for the past? And the president, he is terrible. First of all, I read he had a recent book in the last 8 months, and I just came across a paragraph. He's wishy-washy against homosexuality, so he's unacceptable. And he said he's against homosexual marriage. That's way too far. Homosexuality is wrong from the beginning. The Bible says it could.
We got to go, buddy.
The music's on.
Thank you.
We got to go. Sorry. We're going to be back after a few messages with a little more on Target Radio. And you're listening to AM560 The Answer.
He's right.
That's
He was.
Guys from the Gun Channel said he was asking us where we were located, and he goes,
"Who's that? Who's he?"
One of the guys on Gun Channel.
Okay.
I like John better when he's off his meds. I told him we were in Elk Grove Village, and he goes, "Oh, for some reason I thought you guys were much further south, like down by Indiana." He goes, "Now I have more respect for the show."
We are. We're in Illinois. It's right next to Indiana.
He's kidding, but it's just funny.
Well, that's nice. No. Okay, so we never got around. We'll have to talk about the restroom now.
Yeah, I'd rather talk about the locker rooms than the army. You didn't put the VA hospital thing in that I gave you.
Our viewership went down pretty much.
Where was it? What was it?
It was whistleblowers are being harassed.
Oh, yeah.
in the VA hospital.
I have to make decisions.
48 degrees in Chicago.
I lost sleep. I lay in bed and I go, Gretchen really wants this, but I don't see where it fits
Okay.
in. Maybe John will call.
No, because I
like
forwarded it to you. And
Boy, this is
maybe,
Chicago, but I don't think we need to patronize that much.
Maybe you would like to add this to the segment about the military, and you said good idea.
Yeah. I thought it was.
Just because it's a good idea doesn't mean anybody's going to do it, or will it fit in the time.
He's got it.
David does this to me too sometimes.
Well,
Yeah, it's a great idea.
That's the job of an executive producer. Lorne Michaels is the perfect on that. He'll laugh and laugh and laugh. You got the two best sketches, and then they won't show up in the show.
And they won't show, right? Absolutely. He who writes the check.
You got the two funniest things in the entire show, and then they're not in the show.
Oh, but they would have been.
If there weren't other funnier things. But your job is to tell your people, good job.
Of course, absolutely. That's what I do as a president. I just tell them they're doing a wonderful job. I just don't give them more jobs.
You're supposed to give them jobs until they collapse, and then blame them for not getting them.
We did get some good feedback on our free gun today. Guy said, yeah, it all worked for the 2.5-hour ride from Indiana to come out and shoot.
Oh, good. Tell them I said thank you.
Or you should. Jack is the president and founder of Tabota & Associates. He's been just like you, retire successfully for 3 decades. Jack has the insight, information, strategies, and experience you can use to build wealth and keep it. Live good. Retire well with Jack Tabota of Tabota & Associates. 630-777-7955. 630-777-7955.
Okay, kids, the campfire's out. Let's hit the road.
Dad, the fire's not out. It's still smoking.
No, close enough.
Come on, Dad, do your homework. If it's too hot to touch, then it's too hot to leave.
I knew that.
You're never too young to get your smoky on. If you see someone in danger of starting a wildfire, step in and make a difference. Brought to you by Smokey Bear, the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council. Learn more at smokeybear.com.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
You're listening to On Target Radio on AM560 The Answer with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
Now, I know I'm going to have to be really careful how we talk about this subject.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I'll be crucified with this forever.
You could easily put your foot in it.
Exactly. But under Obama's new, first of all, I actually went and checked this. Nowhere in the Constitution of the United States does it talk about the federal government and education.
Right.
It's not there.
Right.
And realistically, somebody pointed out in an article, it really shouldn't even be in state constitutions because it's a private matter between you and your kid.
Right.
And I get that. Which makes this all the more heinous because they're using
some of the presidential candidates have actually proposed getting rid of the Department of
Education.
Education.
Yeah.
Case in point.
Well, because it's turned into a propaganda mill.
Exactly.
And everything insidious. I mean, I showed you that little article about it. It had nothing to do with gun control whatsoever. It was a reading exercise in the new whatever
Common
format,
Core.
Core. But what was the example? It was an anti-gun example.
Right.
Just, slid under the door.
Mhm.
So anyway, now, and you know what the leverage is? The leverage is they give money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
If you don't play the
Federal
game my
funding,
way,
right.
we take
Federal
your money
funding
away.
is always the leverage.
And of course, they're all used to taking the money and they don't want the cuts because how do I go and tell you that you're taking a 20% cut because we won't teach kids that it's okay to marry your pet iguana or whatever in God's name they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So now the latest thing, and you can't make this stuff up. Now the Department of Education says little boys who think they feel more like a little girl have to be allowed to go into the girls' locker room and take showers with them.
Mm-hmm.
The smartest thing in this editorial is where it says, I have to ask a simple question. Where are your fathers at?
Yes.
I can't even begin to imagine
Right.
if I had a daughter, what I would do.
The guy from Freedom Outpost says it's your daughters who are going to be violated.
Exactly. I find this, it's beyond the pale. I mean, it
really is. And the thing that I think is even crazier about it is this actually is here. It's in Palatine. And they already provide numerous accommodations for transgender students. They call the students by whatever name they want to be called by. They honor selected gender, allowing them to play on the sports teams of whatever gender they identify with, and permit them to use single-sex bathrooms but they have to use the stalls, obviously. And so this is the only thing that they have not allowed is they have not allowed
taking showers together.
Right. They've not allowed a boy who identifies as a girl to use the girls' locker room when he competes with the sports team. So ostensibly, say he's on the volleyball team, for example, and he's not allowed to use the locker room with the rest of the volleyball team. He has to use the boys' locker room and the girls use the girls' locker room. And now apparently this transgender boy complained because otherwise we wouldn't be talking about it. And the Department of Education is saying, no, you have to let him use the girls' locker room with the rest of the team.
You know, my answer to that is, if Bobby wants to, feels like he's a girl and he should use the women's shower, then we need to get Rabbi back and he needs to trim a little closer. Okay. That's how we can take care of that problem. You want to be in for a penny, then you got to be in for a pound.
Well, and it's true that even, with all these accommodations, the school superintendent actually is saying, the students in our schools are teenagers, not adults, and one's gender is not the same as one's anatomy. Boys and girls are in separate locker rooms for a reason. So I thought it was great that he was willing to at least go that far. But, the fact that one's gender is not the same as one's anatomy, it was a lot simpler when it was.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm telling you, I said this jokingly earlier, but
I think it's true. There won't be any boys in boy locker rooms. If you're a 16-year-old boy and somebody says to you, if you go to the principal's office and you go, I've never told this to anybody, but I feel I really am a female. I want to be in the locker room. And you can go and take showers with 16-year-old girls. Are you kidding?
Done deal.
The boys' locker room will empty out completely.
Yeah. Actually, the Freedom Outpost guy quotes Romans 1:21-28, and it basically says that their minds, God allows people to be depraved, and He just turns them over to their depravity, and that's where we are. We have arrived.
What they're literally doing is they're totally disassembling the Judeo-Christian ethic.
Yep,
That's what they're doing.
the point. Yeah.
Ann's on the line. Ann, you got 30 seconds. How you doing?
Hi, good evening. Yeah, I don't mind. Boys want to use the girls because it's much cleaner than the boys do. But I mean, what are you going to do with all these pregnant girls? But the thing is that I wanted to talk about the caller who said about Catholics. And I believe there's Kennedy Catholics. They're liberal, they're Democratic, and a lot of the bishops and cardinals follow them. Kennedy wanted the Obamacare. I guess they go for pro-life, not pro-life, but pro-abortion. And we have a problem with them because it's not the true Catholics. I'm Catholic. I don't go along with any of that stuff.
All right, I appreciate the call, but we got to take a break. But
we're glad to hear that there's at least a few Catholics who still stand up for what's right and what the church actually teaches.
And we hope maybe it'll all find its way. We've gone through periods in history when things have looked like they were at the end. I mean, if you go back and look at quotes of famous politicians, they'll go, life as we know it's coming to an end, and we come out of it. And I'm just hoping we'll come out of it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Here's to hoping.
We're going to be back after a few messages, kind of recap and wrap everything on up. And we'll have a little more on Target Radio when we return. And you're listening to AM560, The Answer.
Trying to understand it is like nailing jello to a tree. Liberal logic. Liberal logic, right?
Makes no damn sense. No sense at all.
We had a guy call. That was interesting. Yeah, Ann's awesome. Actually. She used to call the money show all the time.
He was
called Ann from Chicago, your last caller. Used to call all the time the money show that I had with Shrimpy. Remember Shrimpy? Before Jeff, it was 5:30 to 7. They would show up in 3-piece suits and dance around to their own music. You remember the guy? Randy Barcella.
You're calling him Shrimp.
Yeah, because he wore his shirt.
Yeah, no, I remember
Jeff
very well.
Nice pink shirt. He goes, it's Shrimp.
The first time he walked in here, my mouth just dropped open.
We got no time. So I'm going to tell you this real quick. Yeah, always. But here's the thing. She used to call them and say completely unrelated shit.
To own it responsibly is ours. More than 70.
Don't know.
You're going to tell us something really fast, and we're running out of time.
A lack of sleep.
That's a true statement.
Bye.
Adios.
I was going to tell him that Randy Barcella resurfaced and asked Marlene Carlson to do a show with him.
Okay. Last segment. 40 seconds. We're doing segment 6.
Exploring the liberal agenda, or exploring how the liberal agenda caused Democrats to stumble into a 15 election. I'll reword that better in a minute.
Help you fall, stay asleep longer, and wake up refreshed without grogginess. Somnipure is the only sleep aid with this specific blend of ingredients. Listeners of this station can try a free bottle, but don't wait. This free offer won't last forever. Call 1-800-937-9195. 1-800-937-9195. 1-800-937-9195.
You're listening to On Target Radio on AM560 The Answer with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
And we're back from On Target Radio. We want to thank Larry Lloyd for the second year in a row, almost to the day, made another contribution to help keep us on board. Awesome. Larry, thank you very much.
Larry.
We appreciate it. Literally, I mean, it was like 3-day difference, almost exactly on the mark. So, Larry, thank you very much. It's
folks like you that make sure that we're here. We need more folks like Larry.
Yes.
We do indeed. We didn't get around to a topic that I really wanted to get around to, and that's the military is going to where in a handbag. I think maybe we'll carry it over for next week because I want to talk about that.
Sure.
But other than that, are you ready to go?
I'm ready.
You're ready to go. Okay.
Stand by. Here's Gretchen with your action items for the week.
ISRA grassroots groups are continuing to form around the state. They are happy to announce that a new group will begin meeting in the Northwest Suburbs this week on Tuesday, November 10th at 7 p.m. The Northwest Suburbs group will meet at Colonial Cafe in Algonquin. You may also attend one of the ISRA grassroots groups already meeting regularly. The South Suburban group meeting on the second Tuesday of the month. Their next meeting will be Tuesday, November 10th at 7 p.m. at the Keystone Cafe in Midlothian. The Heart of Chicago group meeting on the second Wednesday of the month. Their next meeting will be Wednesday, November 11th at 7 p.m. at Diez y Ocho Burger Lounge in Chicago.
That's easy for you to say.
Yeah, it's hard to switch from Spanish to English that quickly. The Wheaton group meeting on the third Tuesday of the month. The Deerfield group meeting on the third Wednesday of the month. Chatham group on Chicago's South Side meeting on the third Thursday of the month. I put all the details for all the grassroots groups on Facebook earlier today. Join On Target Radio at a gun show fundraiser for the Villa Park VFW Post 2801 on Saturday, November 21st from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. The Villa Park VFW is located at 39 East St. Charles Road in Villa Park. Several gun manufacturers will be displaying their products as well as holster companies and other products. Admission is just $5. The VFW needs a new roof. Come out and support this worthy cause. The following Safer USA classes are all at our office in Waterman. Saturday, November 14th, Tactical Pistol 1 and 2, taught by David. Saturday and Sunday, November 14th and 15th, Illinois Concealed Carry 1, taught by David and Gretchen. Sunday, November 22nd, Tactical Rifle and Pistol Gun Employment, taught by Eric. To sign up for classes, go to saferusa.com and click on register. And I'd like to say happy Veterans Day to all the veterans out there. David, my dad, and all the other veterans.
Well, thank you.
Welcome.
We're doing segment 6 tonight?
Yes, we are. You can check it out at youtube.com/On Target Radio. And tonight we'll be talking about how the liberal agenda caused Democrats to stumble in the 2015 election.
I love it. Yeah, that's great. And it's an interesting subject that we will talk about. We're up to 902 likes. We picked up 2 this week.
Yeah, our YouTube subscribers have been going up too as well.
I think we got 3 this week because we were like last Sunday was like 899.
So keep them coming in. We want to break 1,000.
We want to get to 1,000 likes on Facebook.
Yeah. What?
So thank you for sharing it.
Yeah.
To all the guys out there, everyone out there sharing our stuff.
We appreciate it.
Keep sharing.
And now that I figured out how to put the rant of the week, the whole newsletter on Facebook. So that's available to people who don't subscribe. Although we'd like you to subscribe. It's free. It's weekly.
Yeah.
It's a labor of love.
It is.
And we'd like to thank you for listening to On Target Radio. And be sure to listen next week when we'll be covering the red meat issues that affect your life.
We'd also like to thank George Huffman on the board, our social media coordinator and ad sales director, Rick Zizek, and our sponsors, the Illinois State Rifle Association, the Aurora Sportsman's Club, Stone City Kitchen and Bath Design Center, and Safer USA.
So, this whole thing about, we'll talk about it. I don't want to get started now, but we're going to talk about it in segment 6 because it's going to be interesting.
We have 15 seconds.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Anyway, do come back next week. And we got some other interesting things coming up. Like us. And thanks, Mike, for making it all happen.
Hi, I'm Brendan